Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Thursday edition of the JP Peterson Show. I'm running solo today. And Lord knows what's going to happen today. Technically speaking, you know you're going to get a good show. You're going to get lots of information on the Lightning trade yesterday. Blockbuster trade. God bless Julian Brisebois. We're going to talk some Bucs football today as the NFL heats up in terms of free agents out on the market. Who's getting signed, who's not getting signed. Joey Bosa is available. Ooh. There's a juicy edge rushing name right there. Joey Bosa. Who wouldn't want Joey Bosa? Maybe the Bucs. A little bit more there than meets the eye. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into some Rays stuff as well. Sugar Shane on the mound today in Clearwater. Can't wait to see him pitch again. Joe Boyle was lighting up the radar gun yesterday, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Maybe a little bit of Gator basketball mixed in today. Last night, they absolutely dismantled Alabama on the road. Really, really good basketball team, this Gator basketball team. We'll hit that. Liam Cohen making some comments about leaving Tampa Bay. It was gut-wrenching. Ghosting my employer and getting $60 million guaranteed. It's gut-wrenching. Yeah, I can imagine. It was a tough day. I know you've only been an offense coordinator 1 year, but here's $60 million guaranteed. Gut-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching. Oh, if only I could have such a gut-wrenching day. So we'll get into a little bit of that as well. Brian Bradley is going to join us at 10:45 live from Amalie Arena for the morning skate. Well, there'll be two new Lightning players on the ice this morning. I imagine they'll be on the ice this morning because they are playing tonight. Yanni Gord and Borkstrand will be playing tonight. So the Buffalo Sabres are in town, so we'll get into that as well. So all that coming your way. Jump in the comments. I see you guys are already in there as well. Bucs Basement, good morning to you. Bucs Rays Bolts, good morning to you. So if you guys want to jump aboard, please do. You can always do that on the YouTube page, our Facebook page, WATB Facebook page, all that good stuff, and on Twitter as well. So let's jump right in there and talk a little bit about this trade yesterday. We knew, there was no secret that Julian Brisebois was going to take a big swing because he normally does. And he was a big swing, no question about that, as he brings back 33-year-old Yanni Gord from the Seattle Kraken. Of course, Gord, a huge part of those two Stanley Cup wins, was part of the expansion draft. Nobody wanted to lose Yanni Gord. Nobody ever wanted to lose Yanni Gord. I often say, if we were back in the 80s and there was no cap, can you imagine what this team would look like and how many Stanley Cups they would have won in this 10-year run? Imagine if we didn't have to give up Goudreau and JT Miller and Yanni Gord and Coleman and Carter Verhaeghe. Go on and on. Guys that are winning cups all over the place. You imagine what this team would look like? Holy shiz. And Jeffrey Vinnick would spend whatever it took to keep them all. So, if only. But we do have a salary cap, and Julian Brisebois has to do. Oh, and the empty chair. Yes, there is an empty chair, B. That is reserved not for Brody Brazil, but for the great Scott Chiefs, who's going to join us at 11:30 and talk about the FSU settlement. So thank you for reminding me there, because I also want to remove, now that you've got the big Are you hearing me now? Now we got an echo. Stand by. We're going to switch this up a little bit. There we go. All right. How about now? Everybody good now? Are we good now? Are we good? We'll have to use that 2-shot as well. Yeah, I think we took out the audio when I took out the 2-shot. We good? Okay, good. Sorry about that. When I'm solo, when Timmy's not riding shotgun with me, guys, this is what happens. And we'll get to your stupid comments here in a minute. Where was I? Yanni Gord. So Yanni's going to bring that fire. We'll probably see him. Maybe I think you're going to see Borkstrand on the Hagel and Sorelli line, which is just going to make for an absolute hell line against anybody. A great matchup line defensively, who's just going to be a pain in your ass. Also tremendous offensively as well. We see with Sorelli hitting 20 goals this year. And Borkstrand is a consistent 20-goal scorer, 50-point scorer. So he's got really good hands. He plays a great 200-foot game, and he's a right-handed shot, which is something that the Lightning desperately needed. All right, I'm going to try something else here for you guys to see if we can get some Julien Brisebois on yesterday. So let me know if you hear this when we play this audio. Here's Julien Brisebois yesterday at his press availability.
What drives us is trying to win a championship, and that's really hard. And in order to do that, you need a lot of good players. You can never have too many good players. So what I'm trying to do is use my draft picks to acquire as many good players as possible so I have the best team possible. Ultimately, that's what I'm trying to do. I'd rather have a lineup full of good players than a bank of a ton of draft picks. Because I think ultimately what we're trying to do is win hockey games. We want to win a lot of hockey games. We want to win a lot of hockey games this season, next season, every season. Like we're chasing a championship now, this season, but we're going to be chasing a championship next season and for the foreseeable future. So if I can use those picks to help me accomplish those objectives of winning as many hockey games as possible and chasing championships, I think that's my job, to go ahead and get those transactions done and acquire those players.
Could not agree more. Again, when you're picking in the lower part of the first round, there's always going to be some generational players at the top. Well, maybe not always, but they're usually, not more than 2 or 3 deep. So once you get to 5, maybe not 5, maybe once you get to 7, is there a big difference between 7 and 107 at that age? No, not really. And there's different ways to go out and acquire players, and why you are in win mode now, which obviously is where the Lightning are at right now. You got to use these draft picks. Absolutely. 1,000%. I mean, you've got Kucherov signed for another 2 years at 9.5 after this year at $9.5 million. That's a steal. The top players are making $13, $14, $15 million in this league. And he's a steal at $9.5 million, as is Vasilevsky, as is Hedman, as is Hagel at $5 million, as is Point at $9.5 million. All these guys are on very team-friendly contracts, and the cap is going up each and every year now. It goes up $8 million next year, probably another $8 million after that as they catch up from COVID. And I think hockey's going to expand the revenues tremendously with new television deals. So I think the cap just continues to go up, and you could acquire players. This is a destination place to play. So you're always going to be able to get players to want to come here in free agency. So, draft picks really in hockey to me, and I know you got a lot of the quote experts out there that are, the old traditional hockey guys that want to build through the draft and, the prospects and blah, blah, blah. Great. Go do that. We're going to win Stanley Cups over here. Just by the way, as an aside, I don't have the audio with me, but I wish I did. Ron DeSantis, it was yesterday, 2 days ago, in the State of the State address, was addressing a possible Canadian boycott of tourists, saying we got 170 million, I think, tourists coming, of which 3.3 million are Canadian tourists. So we'll be okay. But he also, and I'm paraphrasing here, said, well, I still think they're going to come, because basically where else are they going to get a glimpse of a team that can actually win a Stanley Cup? I don't want to listen. I don't want to start not picking a fight with my Canadian friends. I love my Canadian friends. But you got to admit that was a good one. That was a good one. That was a good one. Anyway, I digress. So Borkstrand really, really slots in as a right-handed shot as well, which is something that the Bolts were definitely looking for. And when you're in this win mode now, you got to go get these guys. I mean, think about it. You'd have to wait 8 years for a Borkstrand at a first-round pick, at 25 or 26, wherever the Lightning would be picking. If you're lucky, he becomes a 50-point scorer. You got him. You got him for the stretch run now, and you got him for next year. He's under contract for 2 years at $5.4 million. Again, for a 20 to almost 30 goal scorer who plays a gritty 200-foot game, which is what plays in the playoffs. I mean, boom, let's go. Gave up too much. What kind of hockey nerd talk is that? Take your picks, bro. I don't need them. And to that end, Brisebois has now traded away 8 first-rounders and 5 second-round picks. You know what he has? Top 5 team in terms of chances to win the cup. That's what he's got. He's got a core of players that knows how to win in the playoffs. And he's hungry after 2 straight first-round losses. I mean, I know last week Vegas had Edmonton as the top pick. And I said right then I was going to jump in and get some Lightning money on them winning the Stanley Cup. I think they were plus 1,600 at that point, some ridiculous number. I bet that's come down a lot. I'll look that up, or if any of you guys want to look that up, see where the Lightning are now in terms of ranking as to winning a Stanley Cup. Because I think the way they're playing right now, 10-1-1, they got Buffalo coming in tonight, who's been terrible. First time we'll see Buffalo, so I guess we got 3 more games with them. So that's good down the stretch. And I'd really like to see the Lightning, who are, I think, 3 points out as of yesterday. I'd really like to see them finish first in this division. I really would. I don't want to see the Panthers. Toronto, they got spanked like Vegas. At least the first 2 periods. I went to bed after that. But I don't want to see the Panthers in the first round. Don't really see Toronto. So I don't. I would just rather them win the division, get as many home games as they possibly can in Game 7, and just roll into the playoffs as an absolute wagon, which is where they're headed. So yeah, in terms of what Julien Brisebois, did he give up too much? F that. I'm not even entertaining that. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Alex Tuck. I get it, but that was going to take even more. And I think Borkstrand is, I want to say every bit as good. But we'll see Tuck tonight. But I think he's pretty damn good. He's pretty damn good. And I think he fits in exactly with what this team does and their culture. And of course, Yanni Gourde is just going to add that little extra push. Clearly a huge fan favorite. That's great. Pump up the fans, get them going. And Yanni Gourde plays that style. Now, look, at 33 years old, he's not the 27-year-old spring chicken. He's not a big guy, so age and injuries are certainly going to take its toll on the way he plays the game, which is all out, incredible effort, speed, pain in the ass, great forechecking. Borkstrand's a great forechecker as well. So it just adds – I think we talk about teams being hard to play against. The Lightning just got much harder to play against with the addition of these 2 guys. And Brisebois may not be done. He may be adding a left-handed defenseman. Who knows? But at this point, this is a good haul. Now they lose Mikey Eyssimont, and I gotta laugh. Mikey does a lot of good things. He's taken some bad penalties, no question about that. But I was texting with some very learned hockey people, and someone said, he doesn't have great hands. And someone else piped in and said, my mother has better hands than Mikey Eyssimont. And that's after a lot of changing of diapers. So listen, we'll miss Mikey Eyssimont, but not that much. I think Yanni Gourde certainly fills that role, and Bjorkstrand definitely gives you a top 6 forward that makes your lineup so much deeper. So we'll see how, I think where they'll slot in, we'll see. And Coop will certainly, mix and match over the next 20 games as we head into the playoffs. But, man, you got to love where the Lightning are right now. You just really, really got to love where the Lightning are right now. And not just for this year, but for years to come. I mean, they've got their superstars signed up at reasonable, very reasonable prices. The cap is going up. This is a destination place to be. Do not worry about the draft picks. Do not worry. Listen, maybe in 5 years, will the Lightning start feeling this? Yeah, probably. We'll worry about that then. Who knows what the league looks like at that particular point. So there could be a time when it takes some time for and by the way, they didn't have to give up Isaac Howard, who is up for the Hobie Baker Award, having a hell of a year. At one time was leading the nation in scoring at Michigan State. Michigan State was ranked number 2. So there's there's still some obviously talent in the pipeline. So let's not go crazy. But at this point, it's about now. And this team looks fantastic. So I'm very, very excited. Let me get to some of the comments here. Not the snarky ones. Well, yeah, we'll do the snarky ones as well. Bucs Basement, I'll get to yours in a second when we get to the Lightning. Any of you guys have anything to, or the Bucs, you have anything to say about this trade that you'd like to add in? And I muted myself. B's like, Stu has hacked it and stuck it up, JP. Yeah, you did. JP just announced the News Rays ownership group. I did. Oh, yeah, the volume was off. Rick says, guys, it's like talking to your wife. Raise your hand if you've gone through at least 2 to 3 minutes of your wife talking while you were either scrolling or watching something and you didn't hear an effing word and you acted like you did. Yeah, that's me raising my hand slowly. Sorry, Ash. Sorry. And you know what? They've done the same thing to us. As we ranted about some stupid sports thing. Yeezy, thank you. I'm not muted anymore, though. B says, I just announced Vinnick buying the Rays. He's not buying the Rays. I shouldn't say that. I don't know if he's buying. I don't think so, but I have not heard his name. Of all the names I've heard, I have not heard his name. Not once. Yeah, Tim just wanted a raise. Yeah. You know, he probably does peek in and say, oh, this guy's a complete idiot. Clicked it. Why did you click that? Because I'm an idiot. Wait, that's Billy Donovan. JBB has a little Billy Donovan to him. Wait a minute, hold on.
What drives us is trying to win a championship, and that's really hard. And in order to do that, you need a lot of good players. You can never have too many good players. Well, so what I'm trying to do is use my draft picks.
If you mute him,
to acquire as many good players as possible.
It definitely looks very Billy Donovan-ish, as does. Bucs Rays Bolt says, what crazy Tampa got Robin deal? Oh, dude. I don't care about the draft picks in hockey. I don't get it. I just look at Buffalo. Look how many great picks they've had. How they doing? Not good. Michael LaRue, good morning to you, says Borkstrand is better than Gord at this point in their careers. Yeah. Borkstrand is also on a contract next year. Bolt's overpaid because they're only 1.2 million of Gord's at 5.1. They're only paying a little bit of Gord's salary. So that's not, I think Seattle retained like 50% of his salary. So that's pretty good. I don't think they got fleeced. I disagree. Bucs Rays Bolt says, think Tampa may make another move for deadline. I do. Buckin says, I'd rather watch this team make cup runs, not draft picks. Hell yeah. Ashley says, rude. I'm sorry. You've done it to me too. Who you kidding? I don't want to hear that. Heard McCoy requite F for Slay come Tampa. Okay, that's great. Can we before you put I should have proofread that before I put it up, but you guys can proofread your stuff before you put it on here too. Make it make sense. All right, to the Bucs. Joey Bosa. Joey freaking Bosa. Can we just draft one of these guys one time? Just one monster coming off the edge. Can we just draft a guy? Like, have we? I mean, Simeon obviously was a trade, a free agent. JPP was a trade. Like, have we ever? I mean, let's not go back to Keith McCants. Who was the kid from Clemson? May he rest in peace. What? It's like a 4th overall pick. Anyway, not good. Poor kid. I remember when they brought him out to do the first round pick interview, they fly him in the next day. And I'm looking at this kid. He's got these wide hips, and he was shaped like a bowling pin. And he just had no upper body strength whatsoever. And he was a very soft-spoken kid. And I'm like, that's not Lawrence Taylor. No, does not compute. Does not look like that guy. So we have Gaines Adams. Thank you, Bucket. Gaines Adams, nice kid, really, really nice kid. But boy, was he overmatched. I just would love to just draft a monster coming off the edge at some point. At 19, if Mike Green were to fall to the Bucs at 19, but there's some good ones in there. So I don't think there's not a Joey Bosa going to be available at 19. That ain't happening. That's Abdul Carter. Can you imagine? Yes, rest in peace, Gaines Adams. Great, nice young man. But I mean, it just has not been there. Yeah, as Bucs basement, I got to give you some play because you're jumping in here. Unfortunately, JP Light sucks at drafting edge and has since 2014. Well, again, they've never used a premium pick. They could have got Josh Allen instead of drafting Devin White back in the day, which I was much more for because I think edge rush way better than inside linebacker. But hey, you always got to say Devin played great in the Super Bowl season. He was great. So you got to say we got something out of that pick. But for long-term edge rush, no, hasn't been there. So Joey Bosa, oft injured. He's averaged in the last 3 years 9 games, so barely half a season, and 6.5 sacks, and is going to be 30 years old or is 30 years old. Oft injured guys don't suddenly get healthy. It just doesn't happen. So my sense is, especially with the name and the former production, he's a 4-time All-Pro guy, was, when healthy, he's awesome. But at 30 years old and you've been beat up and injured, I mean, it's a flyer at best. I would not involve, and somebody's going to pay Joey Bosa. Somebody's going to pay him real money. And I think it's a risk not worth taking. I really do. I love it. It would just be fantastic. If you could tell me he's going to be healthy, I'll pay him $20 million a year. Easy. I would do it because he's that kind of guy. Forced fumbles, coming off the edge, huge, just absolute unbelievable energy when he's healthy. But when the last 3 years averaged 6.5 sacks in 9 games played, can't do it. Unless it's really, really cheap and he wants to come here and on a prove-it deal. I mean, highly incentivized. You you tell me he's going to play 17 games, I'll pay him $20 million a year. I might even pay him 25 if you guarantee 17 games, because that's going to be, without question, double-digit sacks, monster. But what are the chances that happens? Very slim. Very, very slim. So as much as I love the name and it gets you excited, I just don't think, and reading the tea leaves from what Jason Light has said, and this has pissed off Bucs Basement and a lot of other people, they're not going to go out on the market and overpay for a guy like Joey Bosa. They're just not. And I'm okay with that. You can draft a guy. There's a bunch of guys that are, second tier edge rush guys that have been productive in this league. You find them. You found Shaq Barrett. You found JPP. You want to say Light's bad at edge rushers. Well, he's never used a premium pick on one because he doesn't have many premium picks. The premium picks that he used were on Mike Evans. How'd that work? Pretty good. Devin White, but they've never really used a premium pick. I'm talking about top 5, top 8 pick on an edge rusher because they're they've been in the damn playoffs. That's kind of how that works. As Bucs Basement says, the edge market is deep. Light has no excuses. If he can't secure a quality edge rush and free agent, then he needs to be shown the door if we fail this season alongside Bulls. Bucs Basement. I mean, only one team wins a Super Bowl, bro. So calm down. Calm down. Jason Light ain't going anywhere. Bucs Basement says Bosa is a no-brainer, but Jason Light shops in the bargain bin, so we'll probably get a 34-year-old Khalil Mack, which does not excite me. He's a name at this point. Joey Bosa is younger. Yeah, he's younger and more injured. Khalil Mack answers the bell. He had one season where I think he missed a few games with a knee injury. One season. I think Khalil Mack at 34 is more durable than Joey Bosa at 30. Bodies are different. Guys take care of their body differently. They do different things. Joey Bosa's body has broken down. Khalil Mack has not. He had 17 sacks 2 years ago. I know that's 2 years ago, and he only had 6 last year. I get that, but he had pressures. The tape looks good. I don't want to overpay for Khalil Mack, but I don't think it's a horrible idea. I don't. For 2 years or a 1 year deal, especially a 1 year deal. If I can get Khalil Mack 1 year, $20 million, have a couple dead cap years in there, avoidable years, yeah, that'd be cheap. And I do something like that. I push a little cap down the road right now for a short-term guy. This is where the Bucs are at. I think the Bucs are very similar to actually, the Bucs are actually much younger than the Lightning are, but they both have championship windows. They're different windows. They look different. One might be a little bit more frosted than the other. A little bit more gray on it, but they both have windows, so you have to manage appropriately. And I think you have to be somewhat aggressive, but not crazy aggressive if you're Jason Light. He says Jason Light's obsession with finding another Shaq Barrett is going to hold this team back because he's just looking for a bargain deal instead of shopping for quality. I mean, what do you want to do? You want to go give up 2 ones and a second for Myles Garrett and then pay him $40 million a year? I don't want to do that. He's a great player. But that's going to hamstring you for putting together a team. Not only this year, but down the road. It's too much. I don't think, unless they're a quarterback, those deals don't work out for the most part. They usually help the team that's getting the picks. Like Houston. When you like the Eagles, when you sell off an asset for a lot of picks, good teams do something with it. The Lions, what the Lions have been able to do when they got rid of Stafford. Box Basement says Liam Cohen's comments show a little bitch. He truly is, honestly. It kind of does. See what else is in the comments here. We have from you guys. Sorry, I have to do all this stuff myself today, so I'm looking through some of your. Yes, Gerald McCoy is definitely trying to recruit Darius Slay. Gerald McCoy wants to be a general manager of the Buccaneers. It's every time somebody becomes available, he wants them. He wants Myles Garrett. He wants Darius Slay. He wants Joey Bosa. Sign them all. Gerald, there's this thing called the salary cap, Bell. We know. we gotta work within some parameters. Darius Slay, though, I'm not adverse to getting him on board. A guy that actually could catch the ball and contribute to turnovers from the cornerback position. We allowed to do that? I think we are. I would, again, but what is the cost? Where are we at? John, I think they're going to probably release Jamel Dean. If they know they have something else to replace him with, and they know what they can do, if it's Darius Slay or somebody else, then yeah, I think they'll make that move. Daniel Rivera said Brody Brazil just posted another video titled 5 Best Guesses on the Rays Stadium Situation. He gets so many views out of my information. It's fantastic. No, Brody's great. He's given us a lot of exposure, so we appreciate that. But yes, and thank you for quoting our show and getting us more viewers as well. We appreciate that. He said he pointed out Manfred said same about Oakland in 2016 in reference to the Rays, 2 different situations. Yeah, I think, if you're really in tune with what's going on, these are always been 2 different situations. And the main part is because there's two teams in that market, two teams in that San Francisco market. There's only so when Oakland leaves, Major League Baseball is not leaving the market. So it's completely different than Tampa Bay. Whereas if the Rays left, you would lose this market, the 11th largest market, which, Major League Baseball is now looking for national TV partners. They're going to say, okay, what are your ratings regionally? What are your ratings because your regional ratings will play into what you're going to get on a national level. When you do a Rays game nationally, Rays Yankees, you can predict what the ratings are going to be. So it's important to have the major markets when you're looking at expansion or you're looking at where your teams are when you're negotiating a major television deal. And now they're going to be negotiating streaming rights with a lot of different partners. So having the 11th largest market is a must. And that's why Major League Baseball says we're not leaving. And they're going to be here. So, yes, they're not leaving. And I am still very much talking to the people that are involved in this. Now, I'm not getting daily updates on, how's the sale going? How's the price going? Who wants what? I just know that Stu is asking an exorbitant amount, which is not shocking. The Rays are valued at $1.25 billion. The offers are about between 1.5 and 1.7. Stu wants $2 billion or more. Obviously, the stadium deal is a big part of the groups moving to Tampa that they want to build in Tampa because that's where the long-term revenue is. A lot of people, you say, well, why wouldn't you take the St. Pete deal? Because even with the revenue, with the real estate profits, your long-term success is going to be in Tampa in terms of revenue over 30, 40, 50 years because that's where the growth is. So, yes, and that's why Stu wanted this deal because he got all the upfront money and didn't have to build the stadium because they were separate deals, and he could have taken the real estate deal had the Pinellas County or city not done the bonds. So don't get it twisted. The Rays were hoping, and that's probably why the language in their letters was so bad. They were hoping to piss the city and the Pinellas County folks off so much that they wouldn't approve the bonds and they would default on their part of the deal. And that would leave Stu the opportunity to go get the real estate deal and not build a stadium, which I think was his original goal anyway. I think the whole stadium thing was a sham, but that's just my opinion. But he has a chance to do the deal, and he ain't doing the deal. So you can make your own thoughts on that. Daniel also says Brazil also pointed out that Tampa Hillsborough likely reached out. It did. Tampa likely better fit for Rays. It is. Could be part of Rays consideration of it all. It is basically same info you've said. Yeah. That's right. Brody does great stuff, and he's just repurposing a lot of the stuff that we put out there, and he does it in a very slick and wonderful way. He's very savvy. I wish I had his production budget, no question about it. And he's really good about getting views. He knows how to build his YouTube channel a lot better than I do. So I need your expertise, Brody. So let's pair up. What else we got here? I think of Mac the way I think of Sue, productive vet who stays on the field. This defense hasn't been the same since we let go of Sue. Paris, you're absolutely right. And by the way, welcome in. I have not seen you in here. I agree. There are 34-year-olds and there are 34-year-olds. Ndamukong Suh at 35 was better than most defensive tackles at 25 because he took care of his body. And Khalil Mack is the same way. Ultra professional, always takes care of his body. Look how much he's played. The proof is in the pudding. The dude does not miss games. Now, I'm not signing him to, a 4-year contract. I'm signing him to 1 year, hopefully, maybe 2 at most. And, first year is guaranteed, second year, no. So, but will he take it? I don't know. But, yeah, we got to swing for – I'd like to get a veteran pass rusher like Khalil Mack and one of these good edge rushers in the draft. Bucs Mason says, I want to go for Hendrickson, package Jamel Dean for a second for him. If they'll take it. But, again, you got to pay Hendrickson upwards of $35 million a year for his new deal. You ready for that? I don't know. I'd rather draft an edge rusher and sign a mid-level veteran that's short-term instead of locking into paying Myles Garrett or Trey Hendrickson $35 million. So what did Max Crosby get yesterday? 3 years, 106. So you're looking at $35 million is the going rate for a premier edge rusher, which I don't mind paying if if I know I'm going to get that type of production. But these guys are getting older, and there's no guarantee of that. Whereas you get a short-term guy and draft a guy, you have two shots at getting the production. A Bucs basement prefers Tre'Davious Ward. No, I'll take either one, to be honest with you. Any Godwin update or David update? Nothing official, except I'm just hearing that they're talking. Obviously, I would expect something on both of these guys before Monday. I mean, free agency opens then. I don't think they're going to let Godwin get to free agency. I don't think Godwin wants to go to free agency. I think that gets done, and I think they both will come back. But that's just an educated guess. I haven't talked to either of them. I just think, just reading the tea leaves, I think they both come back on team-friendly deals because everybody wants to be here. That's what we do know is the culture, and the guys love it. All right, let's take a break. That was 40 minutes solo there, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, hope you enjoy me screwing up these breaks too. All right, so we'll do this on the fly. Let's hit the bumper bed. Yeah, there we go. If you have any legal issues whatsoever, make sure you go to their website, jeeveslawgroup.com, and get your free case evaluation, and they'll tell you what's going on with your case. So do that, jeeveslawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves is going to join us here in our second hour to talk about the FSU settlement, as will Scott Hamilton. Brian Bradley coming up next. Stay with us.
Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of five-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. Oh, we missed the bumper. Hold on. Oh, maybe not. Let's do this one. There we go. Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Italiano Insurance in business for over 60 years. If you haven't had your insurance checkup, why not do that now? 813-877-7799. Call Charity. Great customer service over there. Get your auto insurance checked up on, get your home insurance, and by God, make sure you have that flood insurance, kids, because that could bite you in the ass. It's Italiano Insurance, best in the business, 813-877-7799. That's what we call a live read, kids. That's what we call a live read, and your boy just nailed it. Jump on in the comments if you'd like to. Brian Bradley's going to pop in here in a second. Hopefully we'll get him up and we can hear him and all that good stuff. Get back to some of your comments here as well. Rick is up this morning. Good to hear from you, my friend. Rick says, I see Sue walking around his neighborhood. That dude still looks like brick house that can play. Thankfully, he's training Vea and can't see. I know, right? That dude is he's just cut from a different cloth. And Khalil Mack is very much the same way. You know, these older professional guys that have been doing it forever. Remember Dwight Freeney? Dwight Freeney came and signed those 1-year deals for about 3 or 4 years at the end of his career. And he just come in, get you 12 sacks, get you some edge rush. And that's what the Bucs need. No question about it. All right. I believe my good friend Brian Bradley is ready. Let's add him to the stage. What's up, Brads? How are you, partner?
Good, buddy. How are you doing today, JP? What's up, boys?
I can't. Tim's not with me today, so I'm having a hard time getting you. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this this worked out. Yeah, I got you. I'm trying to get you looking good because I got you kind of in the bottom half, and I can't see your face. It's my fault. So hold on. Tim's not here today, so I have to do this myself. So
no problem.
Let's see how. There we go. That's better. Okay, I think and we can still hear you. I think. Yeah, everybody, let me know if you can hear Brian because sometimes I screw this up. So big trade goes down. Have you seen the boys this morning? Have you seen Yanni Borkstrand?
Yeah. Yanni's on the ice. He's penalty killing right now. Bjorkstrand's on the second power play unit right there. He's got the puck right down. You can see him. He's playing with Radish, Sorelli. Oh, he just about scored. So I bet you they move him to the first power play unit at some point, move Hagel back. But you know what? And then they got the first power play unit with Kucherov, Gansel, Hagel, and Pointer on the other end right now. They're all working down there. Everybody's on the ice except one player, Vazzy. He's not at the morning skate right now, but he's playing tonight.
He's playing tonight? Okay. I didn't know if they were going to go with JoJo again. JoJo played good Tuesday night. So, but I'm sure Vazzy's itching to get back in there. So first of all, that's awesome, Brian. Thank you for showing that. That's the first look of Yanni Gourde back in a Lightning uniform and Borkstrand on the number 2 power play unit. You're getting it live right now. Morning skate. Family, look at this. Brian Bradley, the man on the scene. He's got the video working right there. And Borkstrand almost scored, you said, on the power play.
Yeah. Yanni Gourde is his old number 37.
Yeah.
And Bjorkstrand's number 22. Those are
22. Look at that.
There they are.
Look at you. Woo. Look at you with modern technology. That's awesome. So let's start with our boy Yanni. You know, he's 33 years old. He's coming off hernia surgery. I don't know if you ever had that in your career, but he's only played 1 game since coming back. How long do you think it'll take him to get back to the old Yanni Gourde?
Well, you know what? I think one of the things was the trade was they had to see how he played. That was his first game he played the other night. I guess he played really well. And I guess they watched the game. They had someone at the game, the Lightning organization. And I guess the trade went through when Yanni was 100% complete because you can't trade an asset for an injured player. And Yanni's a great player. He's won 2 Stanley Cups here. So they're at center ice right now. They're welcoming back the 2 new guys, Yanni Gourde and Bjorkstrand. They're doing the tap of the sticks. But, Yanni's an energizer bunny. He's a gamer. He competes hard. He's going to be great on our third line. You know what? Bjorkstrand, like Yanni's won 2 Stanley Cups. Oliver Bjorkstrand, he's scored 6 out of 7 years. He scored 20 goals. He won a championship in junior hockey for the Portland Winterhawks. He's won the American Hockey League championship for the Erie Monsters. He was the MVP of the American Hockey League championships the year they won it. So the guy's won at every level. And he puts up numbers on the board. I love him because you know what? We're missing a really good player that's a right-hand shot. That's a key. You got a lot of left-hand shots on the team. Kucherov, Hagel, Cirelli, Jake Gensel. But missing that one guy on the power play, like a Stamkos. So you know what? I think he's going to move into that one slot. He's got a good one-timer, you guys. He can shoot the puck. He can bomb the puck. He's not a Ovechkin or Stamkos, but you give him a chance to score on a one-timer, he'll put the puck in the net. And that's something we're missing, on our power play.
Yeah, it's so right. I think that's why a power play has been kind of inconsistent this year, Brian. Would you agree? Because we don't have enough variation. I mean, we got good players, but not enough variation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're a little inconsistent on our power play. You look at the game against the Florida Panthers the other night. Yeah. I mean, we had We were 0 for 6 on the PP. If we go 2 for 3, we win the game 3-2. Yep. So you know what? It is what it is. At the end of the day, I think this is a good move. I know we gave up away, 2 first-round picks, but you remember when you're giving up a first-round pick, JP, it's going to be 26th or 7th or 8th overall.
Right.
So you know what? We're not giving up a top 10. And you know what? One of the things I like about it, I mean, Julian Breezewell and Matthew Darche were in it to win it. And one of the things, I'm glad we didn't give up Connor Geekie or that Isaac Howard, the really good kid in the minors. That kid's got first or second in points in the NHL, or first or second in points in college hockey. Yeah. I mean, if I'm the Seattle general manager, I make that trade, and I want that kid. So, you know what? We got 2 assets. We got 2 young players that are really first-round picks down in college hockey, and Connor Geekie will be back. But you know what? We're here to win. It's all about winning games. It's not about keeping first or second or third-round picks in your cupboard and maybe use them in the future. We need to win this year, next year, the year after. So, to me, we're in it to win it right now. And you know what? That's what I love about Julian. He goes and makes decisions, and people are like, wow, you gave up a lot. Well, you got to win. It's all about winning. It's winning championships. It's being a dynasty here. And our core guys are right there now. There's no reason we can't win. Vazzy's playing as best he's ever played. Vazzy's playing unbelievable. You know what? Kucherov, Point, Hedman, Gensel, Hagel, all these guys, they're phenomenal right now. You know what I mean? So we got to agree. This is a chance to go for another cup. We play Florida. We play Toronto. We're as good as anybody. I was at the game the other night. We played in Washington. Washington, probably the best team in Eastern Conference. We dominated the game. Vazzy was awesome in net. We were winning 2-0. He scored a goal with 4 minutes to go. But they weren't even in. We were the better team. We were the better team.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Washington about Florida. And I think these moves were about beating Florida, quite frankly, because I think, doesn't this make us a tougher team to play against in the playoffs, Brian? I mean, obviously, Yanni Gord is a great forechecker. He's a pain-in-the-ass guy, 200-foot player, and so is Bjorkstrand. Bjorkstrand's great with his stick, all his analytics. He's fantastic and very responsible. So doesn't this make the Lightning a much better playoff team, 5-on-5, these 2 experienced guys?
Oh, yeah, for sure, 100%. You know what? We got rid of, feel bad for, Mikey Eastamon, a really good guy. I feel bad for, Cam Atkinson that, they had to, waive him to move him around. But, we got a team now that can go deep in the playoffs. There's no reason this team doesn't have a chance to win the cup. So right now, you're looking at a team in the NHL to win the Stanley Cup. The Lightning are right in there. They're top 6, no question. You know what? If at the end of the game, I was up there in Washington. The coach of the Washington Capitals said, hey, you lost 3-1 to the Lightning tonight. What do you think of them? He goes, honestly, he said, they're one of the best teams we played this year. They are a real good team. They have everything you need from goaltending, defense to forwards, and now we got better.
Yeah.
We got better.
Ryan Bradley,
we're in it to win it.
Ryan Bradley joining us from Amalie Arena at the morning skate. Their first look at Yanni Gord and Bjorkstrand in their Lightning uniforms, working on the second power play. The boys are. Do you think Yanni's going to get some PK time? I mean, obviously, Cirelli and Hagel have been maybe the best duo in hockey in terms of not only defending in the penalty kill, but scoring on the penalty kill. Do you think he'll get some PK time? That'll help him out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yanni's he's a penalty kill specialist. you know what? He'll definitely go in there. Hago and Sorelli are so good together, but you can throw Jurgensen. Here's the other thing about Yanni Gord. He's phenomenal on faceoffs. That's one area that we're not talking about. Yanni Gordon's faceoff percentage is one of the best in the NHL. The other night they played, he was 9 for 10 on faceoffs.
Wow.
That's impressive. So you know what? Don't forget about faceoffs. Killing penalties. Yanni Gordon is a master at that. The guy's been in the league a long time, and that's what you want. Another guy that can win draws. So you know what? That's another thing we don't talk about. That's a big factor in penalty killing, winning that faceoff.
That's a great point. So we got Buffalo tonight. They're struggling. Buffalo's struggling. And then we got Boston on Saturday in a afternoon game, 3:00. Talk a little bit about those two games.
Yeah, Buffalo tonight, I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs. It looks like they're going to try and trade some players away and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know what? They don't have a lot to play for. There's 20 games left, but they're not going to make the playoffs. There's guys that are looking at getting traded. They're not sure if they're going to get traded, but, we should win tonight. It's not going to be an easy game. It's never easy. And then Boston on Saturday, they're like right on the cusp. I mean, they're not out of it, but you know what? They don't look good this year. Marchand's been injured. They've had some injuries. Goaltending's been an issue. So I'm not sure. McAvoy's not in still. So they've had a lot of trouble this year, but the Bruins are going to be hanging on right to the very end. If they do make it, they'll be an 8th seed.
You think the Bolts make any more moves? There have been some talk for adding a left-handed defenseman. Do you think they'll make any more moves, or you think they're going to stand pat?
You know what? I think they'll. You know what? The only thing I would like the Bolts to move on is I like our defense. I wouldn't play with that. I think our defense is good. We got a couple guys that can go in and out, but I would like to pick up a guy that's not going to play every night. He's a tough guy. That maybe is an enforcer. That all he's going to do is maybe we play Toronto, he goes in the lineup. Maybe we play another team, he goes in the lineup. But you know what? There's certain teams we play, we put him in, and you take a guy like Mitchell Chayfield, you take Gabe Gonsalves out. There's games like that where you want to put a guy in so they're not running Point, Kucherov, Gensel.
Gotcha.
All those guys. We need a guy that can fight. I mean, and you can say that it's not part of the game, but it is. Yeah. And it's on playoff time. It is. And they're going to be running our guys. And I don't know if we have a guy that can fight. So
it's a great point.
We trade a 4th-round pick for a guy that's just going to play every 3rd or 4th game. But, you need a guy like that to come in and do that. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. And you got any names? Any names?
I don't have any names.
Yeah.
No names.
All right. We'll go find some, though. We'll go find some for sure.
Yeah.
All right, partner. Great stuff. Breaking news. Brian Bradley right there, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news. Your first look at the new guys in their uniforms playing on the ice. Video right there. You're the best, Brads. I'll see you tonight, buddy.
Yeah, see you tonight. Over and out. CJP. Go Bolts.
Lightning Hall of Famer right there. Brian Bradley, baby. If you need him. How about that? Live from Emily Arena. Morning skate. Looking at Borgstrand. He almost scored a goal. I wish he just would have called it a goal. A lot of the people. They don't know. They can't see, Brian. Oh, Borgstrand scores! Score! His first power play goal as a member of Tampa Bay Lightning. Right-handed shot. Yeah, so you think about Stammer in his office. Right-handed shot at the circle. That's something that the Lightning have been missing, obviously. I mean, the power play has been, I think, it's been in the top 10 for most of the year. But again, 0-for-7 against the Panthers the other night. That's some good looks, too. But they just need a little something right there. And I think that'll add to it. Imagine, when you have Kucherov who can put that thing right on your stick, and you have Borgstrand, who's a good one-time and shot from the right side, right hand. There you go. That's a little extra something that you may need to win a playoff game. Tight checking, low scoring, one big power play goal could do it for you. So, for me, JBB hit another home run. Home run. No question about it. All right, get to a couple of your thoughts here. Michael LaRue says Joey Bosa could be joining his brother Nick in San Francisco. I think that's probably going to happen. I think that's a better fit. JT, good morning to you, my friend. Said Stevie Y's Wikipedia. Y drafted Cooch, Vassy Point in the 3rd. Palat, Sorelli. I'm so glad that we made this move. I do not agree with everyone saying that draft picks don't count Go Bolts. I agree, man. Hockey draft picks. When you got a team ready to win, and I think the Lightning have been playing great hockey. But I've said this for a while now. I think we need a little bit more toughness, a little bit more grit. And that doesn't always come in the form of a fighter. It doesn't have to be, but it's just harder to play against. You put Yanni Gourde in there, a healthy Yanni Gourde who's constantly slamming people into the board. I know he's not a big guy, but he's just a pest. He's that Marty St. Louis type. It's hard to play against. It's a pain in the ass. And Borkstrand is kind of the same way. High energy, tough guy, experienced, grown-ass man. Sometimes, Connor Geeky, 6'4", 220. But you can get a 6 foot, 200-pound guy like Borkstrand who plays harder. It's just tougher to play against because he's a grown-ass man. He got that man strength and knows how to use it. So, yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. John Hill, good morning to you, my friend. Says Jahadi Campbell, Alabama could be a great pick for the Bucs at 19, sideline-to-sideline speed, plus an edge rusher. Let me tell you something about Jahadi Campbell. When I was down on the field for the LyQuest Bowl, remember we did the whole show from there? That was cool. Remember? That dude stood out. Now, when you talk about edge rushers, you want them to look like freaks. You want them to look like Yaya Diaby. You want them to look like Khalil Mack. You want them to look like Joey Bosa. They're physical freaks. Jahadi Campbell, he's a freak. That dude is a freak. What is he? Probably 6'3", 6'4". He had the jersey tucked up under, showing his abs, huge legs. Like, he's a specimen. He looks the part, and he's fast. I haven't seen a lot of tape of him as a pure edge rusher. I'm not exactly sure how Alabama used him, but I'm curious to go watch that. So, but I do he sure looks the part. He sure as hell looks the part. All right, so we're going to take a break. If I could do this bumper thing. There we go. When we come back, Scott Hamilton from the Charleston Post and Courier will be joining us, hopefully from his back deck in beautiful Charleston. We're talking about a lot of things, FSU Clemson settlement among them, and who got the best end of that. Yeah, Jeeves is going to join us with that as well. So much more coming your way on the second half of the JP Peterson Show. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Hey guys, February's birthstone is amethyst, a stunning purple gem that symbolizes peace, protection, tranquility, and sincerity. Celebrate her birthday or your 6th and 17th wedding anniversaries with an unforgettable amethyst gift. And of course, for over 40 years, the Golden Diamond Source has been Tampa Bay's most trusted name in fine jewelry. We only sell natural diamonds. If it's real love, it should be a real natural diamond. Don't get a fake. The Golden Diamond Source first-time buyer program will help you learn about the 4 C's, what style, shape, and color works best for you and your unique style. Folks, it's the best customer service. They make it so easy for you, and they're not going to push you into something that you cannot afford. 0% financing for up to 5 years. If you finance $5,000, it's only $83 a month. Also, you can turn your old, unused gold into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. So get that old jewelry and bring it on in. You know where, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on this Thursday. I'm solo today. Tim Ham taking the day off for some personal maintenance. Got to go to the garage, get things tuned up. And that's why we will welcome in from your Charleston Post and Courier, the great Scott Hamilton joining us here. I'm pushing all the right buttons, I hope. Are you there, Scott? Can we hear you?
You sound like a robot.
Yeah.
But you're better now. You're better
good.
now.
Good. You can hear me now? Does everything sound good?
I hear you great, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming on today. How are you?
Well, I did.
Now you can't?
I'm good. Okay. Got a busy, I hear you. I've got a busy few weeks coming up, starting today. But ready to go, man. Ready to hit the road and roll.
Is there anything, back in the day when I was calling games for FSU at Gene Deckerhoff, we did our first ACC tournament, and it was in Greensboro. And I had the pleasure of sitting at that table and calling every single game of the ACC tournament because all the local stations did all the games. We were allowed to do all the games, so we did the games, and we were. It was the
you were sailing with the pilot.
Yes, it was the funnest. Yeah, it was awesome, and that was Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, Timmy Duncan, Randolph Childress, Bobby Sura, Charlie Ward, Sam Cassell. I mean, those were the glory days, bro. And I'm going to tell you, I've done a lot of stuff, as have you, but going to those ACC tournaments back in the day, I don't know if there was a better sporting event. I don't know. Your thoughts?
There's no sporting event that is more synonymous with history and tradition than the ACC tournament. It oozes history and tradition, man. I mean, and Greensboro is the perfect place for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember the first time they went to Brooklyn, I think it was 2016, 2017. Syracuse lost as they do during the first round, and Boeheim then goes on this tirade about how, he goes on this tirade how they should never, ever be in Greensboro again. And it was awful. And I wrote a column about it. Oh. And I'll be darned if he didn't call into my radio show about it. And it was awful.
Wow.
It was awful. And that tournament, I mean, there's no event other than the Masters that's as synonymous with an event as it is its community. It really is. And, I'm going to segue into the future now, which is 2025. It's going to be weird next week. Because this is going to be the first tournament where some members aren't going to be in it at all. And one of them is NC State, more than likely. Like a 98% chance NC State will not be in the ACC tournament. And it was Everett Case, the coach at NC State, that started the darn thing back in the 50s.
That's blasphemy. It's blasphemy.
It is. And it's just bizarre, man. It's just bizarre. And it's lost its passion. I mean, I understand going to Charlotte to play it. I understand going to Washington, D.C., which really that was only to placate Maryland. It was scheduled years ago.
Yeah.
But why should you ever take that to New York? Why should you ever take it, no offense, to Florida? Why should you ever take it? I mean, have it in Greensboro, dude. People love it.
Yeah. Greensboro, Charlotte is where
it's there next year.
Yeah. That's where it always should be. And it was a special time. And I don't think you can recapture what that was back in the day because it wasn't 18 teams. It was 10. Was it 8 or 10? It was 10 maybe at that point. Whatever it was. It was not 8. A lot.
No,
it was 8.
No, it was 9. It was 9.
That's right.
I once visited all 9 schools in 8 days one time.
Yeah. That's right. So then when FSU
Florida
came in,
State
it was
number
9.
9.
Yeah, that's right. So it was special. All right, so we move it forward here, and the ACC is now a non-factor in college basketball. They're just, I mean, what the hell has happened? Outside of Duke, they're literally a non-factor. There's 17,000 SEC teams going to be in the top 6 seeds, and the ACC has Duke. What the hell has happened to this conference in basketball?
Well, okay. The lack of football money eventually caught up with it.
Yeah.
The NIL money caught up with it. They're not getting the talent. You have the exodus of the great coaches, and I hope you can hear me okay. There's an echo in my room.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
The exodus of the great coaches. I mean, JP, go back to 2017, man. How many Hall of Famers did you have? You had Krzyzewski, you had Pitino, you had Boeheim, Roy Williams.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you had the next year where you had guys who had won ACC championships, major conference championships. You had Leonard Hamilton, for Tony Bennett, who would go on to win a national title.
Larinaga.
You had Larinaga. You had Mike Bray, and then you had Brad Brownell. It's crazy. Well, all those guys except Brownell are gone now, so the stability's gone.
Yeah.
The replacements have been underwhelming. Georgia Tech's gone through a couple of coaches since then,
to say the least.
And meanwhile, you had a concerted effort by the SEC. I mean, literally a concerted effort where they had a meeting in 2016. Mike Slide was then commissioner, and he sat everybody down, and he said, we're going to be good at basketball. We got all this football money. We're dominating football, and we're going to figure out a way to transfer that to basketball. And I'll be darned if that's not what they did. They enhanced their facilities. They brought in big-name coaches who have the ego to be in the shadow of football.
Yep.
And they've got fan bases who are willing to pump money into NIL to make the rosters better. And the ACC just kept spinning its wheels. And here we are. It's sad, really. I mean, it's sad because I wrote in a column in 2016, I believe it was, might have been the Boeheim column, actually, that what John Swofford had created was the greatest basketball conference ever. And I meant it at the time.
Yeah.
And now I look at it, and it's a joke. And Louisville being one of the 3 getting in, they shouldn't even have Louisville as a member. All that school's done is embarrass the conference.
Yes, it's just so true. And this will be a kind of a transition.
Hookers. They were giving hookers. Louisville.
Well, let's just say they're the only ones that got caught. Anyway, so let's transition into where we're going with FSU and Clemson. And I think the obvious transition here is, did I lose? I lost you, Scott. You hit something. Oh, man. It's just getting into the juicy part. All right, stand by. I don't know if he even knows he's gone. He might not know. There he is. That
was my bad.
When you talk with your hands this day and age, you never know what you're going to hit.
You do sound better now, though. You sound much better.
Oh, good. Well, then good. We fixed something. So my transition was going to be where the ACC is now is because of lack of leadership. I mean, Jim Phillips finally appearing on the college football show this year and butchering whatever talking points he was supposed to do, calling Jordan Travis the quarterback at SMU, was one of the most embarrassing moments, but absolutely perfectly fitting to illustrate where this conference is right now. That guy is a complete freaking buffoon, in my opinion. And it's lack of leadership in the ACC that has led to this downfall and all the stuff that FSU went through. Because when I read this settlement, and we're going to have an attorney, Scott Jeeves, in here in a little bit to talk about the X's and O's of it, what FSU and Clemson got is exactly what they asked for a few years ago. And Jim Phillips said, go F yourself. You're not getting any of it. And they were like, okay, well, I guess we're going to have to sue you. We don't want to sue you. We don't want to do this. But if we're forced to do it, we're going to have to do it. And so they did it. And they got what they wanted. They didn't get out right away, which I don't think was ever the actual purpose. It was about getting money, getting what's owed so they can compete with the big dogs. We know Wake Forest and Duke doesn't want to compete with Alabama and Florida in football, but FSU has to. For the conference good, by the way. And so does Clemson, for the conference good. So if you're a smart leader, you understand this, and you have to protect those programs and allow them, with your limited resources that you screwed up because you signed a terrible TV deal, You got to protect them and let them go compete. And so that's what we have finally. And we had to go through all this stupid stuff, and the lawyers had to make $500 million. And now we're here, and they got what they wanted. How do you read this settlement?
Okay, you just went on a lot there. I got a lot to unpack, and I have thoughts, man, because you talk about the lack of leadership. It goes back to a guy who had complete leadership, John Swofford. He's the one that signed that crappy TV deal, and he's the one that drug his feet when it came to getting a network. He kept them behind, catching up. Then they get Jim Phillips, who got suckered into the alliance.
Yep.
And caught with his pants down. That was just horrible. And now to the present, what this deal is, JP, it's given the ACC an expiration date, man.
Yep.
It's 2030. That's when the Fox deal comes up. 2034, I think the ESPN or the CFP deal is up 2032. Then the ESPN deal. But what it did is it gave a definitive number to buy your way out. They get to keep their media rights, and they have enough time now to get a game plan together. Meanwhile, the SEC will start thinking, okay, the next wave of growth, the Big Ten, the next wave of growth. Okay, how can we make UNC come? How can we make Clemson work for us? That's what it's done. And all it is buy time for the inevitable collapse of the ACC, because the other members agreed to this only so they would have time to figure out their own futures. That's it. They didn't want to be caught like Oregon State and Washington State and all this. And I'm talking about the Dukes you mentioned, and the Wake Forest and the Syracuse and the Pittsburghs. And that's all this is. It's just kicking the can down the road. Let's keep these guys happy while we can figure out what we're going to do when this thing inevitably falls apart in a few years. That's all it is. And what we're going to end up having, and we've talked about it on here, is those two super leagues. They're going to be monsters. But that's where we're headed. And I guess that's just going to be the way of the world, man. It's sad because I talked with Rick Neuheisel last week, and he has this wonderful plan. I'd like to get your thoughts on this, actually. He says the ACC and the Big 12, if they each get 2 automatic bids in the playoff, he says they should actually partner up and have divisions. And what that does is it gives them 4 total to equal the Big Ten in the SEC. It makes it regional, like college football. And we talked about that, how it should be regional.
Yep.
And it eases travel costs because you're not flying, from Cal Berkeley to Durham to play football. I think that makes such wonderful sense, but not going to happen because it makes such wonderful sense.
Well, I think to your point, 2030 is the demarcation line. Like that is now. So I think it basically is, we've got 4 to 5 years to figure out what it's going to look like. Is it going to be 2 super leagues? Is it going to be under one umbrella? Is it going to be, nobody knows what it's going to be, quite frankly. But we know that the SEC and the Big Ten are going to drive this for the most part. The ACC and the Big 12 will probably have to go along with what they're told to do. But I think hopefully the Big Ten and the SEC will be smart enough to understand that they're stronger as a league with the ACC and the Big 12 as part of a national footprint.
Wouldn't that actually be the alliance as it was intended to be? And they left the Big 12 out at the time.
Yeah.
And they ended up the Big 12 ended up growing and strengthening itself and getting a direction. It embraces basketball and baseball and stuff. Here's something else to consider. Now that it's out there, we've got this revenue model where the people, the popular brands, are getting rewarded. We've seen it before. We saw it before with the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And it was because those guys got sideways about it that that USC said, "Oh, we're gone. We're going to leave," and they ended up leaving. But are we going to come to a point where Alabama and Florida and LSU say, "You know what? We don't want. Why should we pay the bills for Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
Why should Michigan and Ohio State pay the bills for Purdue?"
Yeah.
So are they going to do the same thing? And does that maybe go back to a model that you and I discussed also of relegation?
Yes. Yeah.
Kick them down.
Yeah, absolutely. It fosters more competition. So I think what we do know is in the short term, this is going to be good for FSU and Clemson in terms of being able to compete with the big boys. And, and I think if you're the president of Wake Forest, I think you're smart to say, look, we'll take a $7 to $10 million haircut because, number one, in 2030, if they do leave, that expansion, the exit fee is going to go into our pocket and probably make up for that lost revenue right there. But don't forget, all these universities have $1 billion in endowments. They're not going broke. They'll be fine in short term. They'll be okay. So I think, but they also understand that they need Florida State and Clemson, to some degree, to carry the flag and get back to being national championship contenders. They have to have that.
If that happens, they'll pay for themselves in a roundabout way because of the money they get from going into the playoff. You get $4 million, I think, per round. So if you get in, that's another $4 million. If you go on, that's another $4 million. So they'll kind of pay for themselves in a roundabout way, not completely.
Yeah.
But man, it's heartbreaking because as soon as I saw the news, I went, well, that's the end. The end is near.
Where do you think Clemson goes?
That's a good question. I mean, they're not a fit for the Big Ten. South Carolina doesn't want them in the SEC. Georgia does. I mean, they're right there with them.
Yeah.
It would have to be some backroom deals to get them into the SEC. And as far as the Big Ten, it would have to be a desire of that conference to want to have a Southern presence. Now, I could see them taking Clemson if they wanted to make them a travel partner of sorts with UNC to have another Southern team to kind of offset that whole deal. But I don't know. I mean, maybe Miami, though, is that team. Maybe Miami.
Yeah, I think FSU is a better fit for the Big Ten for the same reasons you just mentioned about Clemson. Florida. I think FSU and Clemson are a better fit for the Big Ten because but again, is there going to be a competition between the Big Ten and the SEC? I don't know. They may be partners at that point in 2030.
They might. And we might not be talking about FSU and Clemson. We might be talking about Texas Tech and Baylor or something. Yeah. Anything is possible. I see value in getting Kansas for the basketball alone.
Yeah. And how about UNC and Miami? Just like coattailing on this deal with the FSU and Clemson. We take all the hits, FSU especially. We get all the slings and arrows. We have to pay the legal fees, and those two teams just slide in and get all the benefits.
They drafted, and there's actually some emails coming out from some UNC chancellors and things like that, going, you know what, we let them pay the legal fees, then we'll come right in behind them. And here's what's funny: the irony of all this is, it's all about football and FSU football, Clemson football, and UNC of course has that brand. But its football brand is going to be enhanced just by having Bill Belichick on the sideline. It's starting to get more eyeballs. They're going to collect this money just because they're going to get better TV ratings. They're going to get a lot more games because of having Belichick. Yeah. This is a wonderful deal for UNC, man. I mean, the people in Chapel Hill, they made out like bandits on this. They didn't do a darn thing.
They did. Hey, I want to get your take on this SEC tournament coming up, this basketball tournament. This is historic.
Which one? Which one? I'm headed to the women's here in about 2 hours.
Oh, my bad. That was very misogynistic of me. Sorry about that. What you mean where they flip the coin to determine who gets?
Don't. The coin toss just means more. That's what it is. The coin toss just means more. I can't think of anything more archaic. I'm supposed to meet with Sankey hopefully Friday. That's tomorrow, maybe Saturday. And I got to ask him, like, dude, you got to.
Is it the same for the men? Is it the same for the men?
Yes. And it's never – it got created in 1990, 91 when they brought in they were preparing to bring in South Carolina and Arkansas. And they've used it in the past for lower seeds, but never for a number one seed, dude. And
there's so many metrics you could use.
We're in a world of quantum –
I mean, it makes no sense. Whatever.
Saber metrics on what kind of coffee he should drink, anything, man. But they have a flipping, and he's sitting there.
Who flipped the coin? Did he do it?
Sankey flipped the coin, and they had like, okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to catch it and then palm it, and I've been practicing for a couple of hours. There was a high level summit to determine if it should hit the floor first.
Oh my God!
I said best 2 out of 3.
It should have been rock, paper, scissors between the coaches, man. Put some mental stuff, that's pay-per-view, baby.
Here people can go, oh, well, what's the difference between 1 and 2? It's a difference between a noon game and a 6:30 game. It's a difference in being in this bracket or that bracket because the SEC women, 3 really good teams, South Carolina, Texas, and LSU. Well, now the number 1 seed, you're not going to face number 3 seed LSU till the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So your path got exponentially easier. So there was a lot on stake for
absolutely.
this. And it was a coin toss.
Wow. And Texas won? Is that right?
No, South Carolina.
South Carolina won? So they're number
tomorrow. They'll play either Vanderbilt or Tennessee tomorrow.
Okay, so in the men's division, well, by the way, the Final Four is here in Tampa for the ladies. So
I will be there more than likely.
Good. Well, then we'll have to break bread when you get here. Absolutely.
I will come in studio.
Yes. Awesome. So now for the men, if we can squeeze this in, this Gator team I saw play last night against Alabama, they've got it all. They've got size. They've got athleticism. They've got an elite scorer in Clayton Jr. They have everything you could want, and they play well on the road. They've beaten 2 number 1s. I think they're going to be a number 1 seed. How good is this Gator team?
They're good, and they kind of snuck up on us because we were so distracted by, specifically the likes of an Auburn and an Alabama and a Tennessee. But the greatness of the conference as a whole, we kind of took our eye off the ball a little bit when it came to Florida. And then we were like, we saw them go to Georgia and lose, got down by 23 in the first half, ended up losing, I think, by 5.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, Florida's still a pretty good team. They can make a Final Four run. They could, Elite 8 at least, blah, blah, blah. Dude, this team can win a national title.
Easy. No.
They can win a national title, man. But you know what? So could Auburn. So can Alabama. I think Alabama's fatigued right now. I think that's their problem. They're going to come back around. They're in the middle.
Mark Sears is really good, though.
He's really
good.
And they've had an incredibly difficult stretch here of late. If Kentucky were healthy, I would say they're a Final Four team, but they're not going to be healthy enough. Here's what's got my interest, though. Vanderbilt playing its way into the tournament. Missouri, incredible turnaround from last year. Didn't win a conference game. Georgia, more than likely, playing its way into the tournament. I'm so excited for Southeastern Conference basketball. And it goes back to the start of our conversation, man. They're good at it because they decided 12, 13 years ago they wanted to be. It's actually incredible.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that SEC tournament. That's going to be an absolute dogfight. And we mentioned this last week. You might want to go out in the first round if you're an SEC team. I mean, because they play back to back to back. Like if you're Florida, you got to play 3 straight games? You got to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or is it Thursday? How does it work?
You caught me off guard with that one, but I'll drive your point home by saying this. First of all, their championship is on Sunday. The ACC did have the foresight a few years ago to make theirs on a primetime Saturday night, and it's cool. Yeah. But who were the 2 teams that went deepest last year for the SEC? It was Alabama and Tennessee, maybe?
Yeah, Tennessee. I think
Alabama went to the Final Four. They went out early in the SEC tournament, and they went the furthest in the NCAA tournament of all those teams. And I think there's value in that. So that's something else like with football. Are we going to see for these teams that have guaranteed high seeding for the NCAA tournament losing interest in winning conference championships?
Yeah. I think you literally have to play 2 more games against top 5 competition. 2 more games against top 5 on back-to-back days. Does that make you better for Thursday? If you're playing a Thursday game in the first round? No.
It's going to grind you down.
No, it's good. Now you're probably going to be playing a 16 or a 15 seed, but we've seen 215. We've seen it all the time. So
you're still running, you're still jumping, you're still jostling with Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. Chances for injury. So travel as well. It's going to be fun to watch anyway. So enjoy your travel, Scotty. Appreciate you coming on. Anything else?
I'm sending you my column from yesterday. I went and I spent an evening with Patrick Young, the former Florida Gator. He's now an analyst for the SEC network. He was in a crash 4 years ago. He's paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh, my God.
He did a year of TV. He had his accident, but they kept him. He comes in, he's in his wheelchair. It's an amazing story.
Oh, awesome.
It's on postandcourier.com. I'm going to direct message you with it. If you'd retweet
I will retweet that. Yes, absolutely.
All your wonderful people see it. That'd be great.
That's a great story. I can look forward to reading it. And by the way, I was reading your Patino article. Fantastic. I agree with you 100%. It is the greatest third act. And you're a hell of a writer. You're a really good writer, and I really appreciate good writing. I really do.
I went to school for three things. I went to school to play football, drink beer, and chase women. I wasn't good at any of it. None of it.
You just found your way to being a hell of a writer. That's good. You're pretty damn good on the radio too.
Thank you. Well, I'm full of crap. I can talk.
Yeah, ditto. Thank you, Scotty. Appreciate it. We'll catch up with you next week. See you.
You the man, brother. See you.
All right, see you. The great Scott Hamilton right there. It was a great conversation. I mean, you guys, I hope you appreciate, I hope you appreciate the knowledge and the expertise of people who have chops, who have been doing this for 30, 40 years and can bring you some historical perspective, because I don't, young people are great. I was once a young person and thought I knew everything, but you just don't have the life experience that some of us old heads have. Sometimes that's not a great thing, but most of the time it is. And especially when you're talking about weighty issues like conference realignment, to have the historical perspective that Scott has, and myself and some others, it's a plus. It's a plus in my book. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, here he is. Right, you sit down right there. Sit down right there. We have you. We're ready to go. The great Scott Jeeves, in first time appearing in your own studio here, partner.
Oh man,
the Chiefs. Pull that microphone over to you.
Oh wow, there we go. Fancy.
Yeah. That's not. It's nice, right? You can look up there. There's your camera right over there. Say hello to the folks right there. There you go. Well, welcome in to your. Get that microphone right up and see how it's a professional microphone.
Wow.
If you put it up right near your mouth, we can really hear you.
Got the fan stream thing going.
Yeah, that's called a mic flag.
Wow.
Yeah, I installed that myself, as a matter of fact.
All right. So
Some of my handiwork.
When's FSU bill in North Carolina, Virginia, and Miami?
Well, you're a much better expert on that than I.
Yeah.
But yeah, they saved their money on some legal fees.
No
What's
doubt.
14 months of legal fees? What do you think that they legal fees for FSU were?
Oh, they were 7 figures for both sides, don't you think?
I that's your department partner.
Oh, they remember they were going up and down on appeals. They were having dual courts.
15 million.
I don't think that much, but they definitely spent some real money.
Yeah.
And
so now Miami and North Carolina just slide right in, and they get all the benefit of the litigation.
That's smart. I think North Carolina even said that in some of their public
They did.
documents. Let's just sit here and wait till the dust clears. I mean,
so as a Gator, can you just give us a little bit of credit for taking the slings and arrows, for just doing something that I think we both would agree any reasonable school would have done the same thing if they were getting screwed like FSU was?
I think I like it, and I also like the fact that you guys took a leadership role, so you guys kind of designed it, and the timing. Like if there is going to be a conference realignment or negotiation of new TV rights, you guys can afford to get out of the conference now. Now you don't have that omnibus,
$700 million
to leave the conference. So I think that was real smart. You guys guided, and you pay the cost to be the boss.
That's right.
You did pay to help guide those deals. You and Clemson did, and so being the leadership, I do admit ACC is does have basketball, but basketball doesn't drive the revenue like football does, and it's clear. And you guys helped design, I think, a really good time to kind of do what you do, which was that compromise. We talked about this. I said, I think and you did too, there's going to be some kind of compromise, and it's got to be a healthy compromise. And you guys were able to do that because you're stable in the conference. You guys will be potentially back, within a year or two within the college football.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
To do that, you don't have to immediately jump up to play with the SEC. And everybody underestimates. I mean, ACC, you guys have won a bunch of bowl games.
Yeah.
I mean, you're top to bottom.
It's not terrible football.
Not terrible football. I'll tease though. You guys remember slinging arrows at Cal Berkeley and SMU and all that, and Stanford.
Hey, we beat Cal. At least we beat Cal.
Now you got to deal with them, but they got at least a chip on their shoulder, so they're going to come gunning for you. So.
SMU got us, but hey, they got to the playoffs, so that's fine. But I think so. There's a lot. Everybody has to have a winner and a loser in this, right? Did FSU win? Was it worth it for them? I say yes.
Oh,
I think they got to
I
win here.
completely did because it designed. I think FSU did. They got the revenue sharing model they were looking for, which they're going to be rewarded. And even I think Wake Forest a few years ago, they had a really good season. So if Wake Forest can actually do something, they could get a share of that revenue. So I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. It's allowed you guys to do. And I think also the timing of the decrease in the numbers when you get out of the conference right now.
Exit fee. Yeah.
And I give it the Gator. I will bet you it wasn't a tremendous FSU football season last year.
No, that was bad timing.
So from that perspective, I don't think you guys wanted to leave the conference right this moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I think we did. If we could have got out, we'd have gotten out. But I think that was a little bit unrealistic. I think it was unrealistic, and I think it was smart of the administration to not push that.
No, and I think the security of being in a conference that you clearly are going to prepare. You're out be a favorite.
Yeah.
You're going to be a favorite. You're going to be one of those full schools that are talked about in the playoffs from the beginning.
Yeah.
It is the SEC, even though there's money flowing, and I think it's helped them tremendously at basketball.
Absolutely.
Is it going to create, do you see teams in the SEC running a completely undefeated season?
No, never. And they don't have to. Yeah. And that's the beauty of the playoff now. A 12-team playoff is, you can have 3 losses in the SEC and make the playoff. I think that we'll see that happen. So I think that's good for college football. But I think for Clemson and FSU, it was a definite win because they now have a number that they know what it is, and it's a reasonable number to get out. And the Big Ten and the SEC now know, hey, you have your media rights if you leave. You have an exit fee. So it's easier to talk. Isn't it easier now for the SEC and the Big Ten to talk to FSU and Clemson because they know what they're dealing with? Nobody wants to negotiate with you when there's possible legal ramifications, right? Yeah. Like if you're still involved in a lawsuit, you don't know what the exit fee is going to be, and you don't even know if you're going to be able to bring your media rights. How can anybody negotiate with you?
They won't. But not that you guys would ever do it, but arguably right now, the Pac-10 or Pac-12 has all that money, the remaining teams. Arguably, if they wanted to deal and FSU wanted to deal, and I don't think there's any possibility of that happening, but at least everybody knows the cost.
Right.
And they know the media rights come with them. It's more expensive today. And I like the tiering down.
Yeah.
The tiering down gives you guys some time to figure out
how much you want to pay to leave.
How much you want to pay.
Yeah, what's
where
it worth?
Do we want to land? It gives you that negotiation time. You know, and it lets you be FSU football. It lets you, hey, we got spring practice coming on. We don't have to talk about lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about spring practice.
Exactly. From a Florida standpoint, from a Gator standpoint, and some of these muckety mucks on the board of trustees and all this, do you think they would ever entertain FSU being in the SEC?
I think it's gotten down to the dollars.
Yeah.
And I think if it's attractive dollar deal, I think every school is going to go after dollars. Every conference right now is going after dollars. And it's, so I think in that perspective,
if it makes sense monetarily, the Gators wouldn't have a problem with it.
I don't think they would, but I don't think FSU is in the same Florida market as Gainesville.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring the cachet.
I agree. I don't think it does a lot for the
don't
SEC
think
in
it
terms
does,
of expanding their footprint and bringing in more money to the conference.
Yeah, and before you said Big Ten or Big, that makes a hell of a lot of sense for them
to gain a foothold in the Florida market.
And that's, why did Big Ten let Rutgers in? Because they want Rutgers football, or did they want that
the New York market, which they really didn't get. People it's just not there. So yeah, and to your point, 2030, who the hell knows what's going to be? If there's even going to be an SEC, an ACC, it may be just the National Football Collegiate Conference. Who knows?
Or does something different happen? Notre Dame being an independent, which kind of plays in ACC, a few ACC games. Does the ACC and Notre Dame, does that become a part? And if it does, then do you guys now have a legitimate super conference also?
No. Much to be done, but I think In terms of the litigation, as you correctly predicted, there will be a settlement. And I think FSU, and you predicted this as well, FSU had the prevailing arguments. And I think the ACC knew they had a losing hand.
I think it was bad pub for the ACC. And so I think it made sense to settle. I think it made sense from both sides to get some kind of agreement and also move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move forward. And this comes from me. I hired lawyers, and I hate paying lawyer fees, and I'm a lawyer. I mean,
everyone hates paying attorney's fees, Scott.
Pay the fees to, because that's part of the analysis, but both sides are draining money. It's sometimes lawyers are a motivation to bring the economic reality of whatever the problem is to both sides.
Yeah, that's good. That's an excellent point.
So I think, the fees and this, that, and the other, when I tell clients, hey, we're not fighting about this because it's going to cost you a fortune and not move the ball.
Right.
So
once again, the big winners, the attorneys.
That's always teasing. I think they did a service for FSU. Come on now.
They did.
We got to give them some
They
credits.
did.
They did a service.
They got what they wanted.
And
when Jim Phillips said 2 years ago, you're not getting any of what you're asking for, go pound sand. They said, okay, then we're going to have to get our attorneys on you and make you see the light.
Yeah.
And they did.
They did. And that's what you paid for.
It's a good point. You got what you paid for.
You got what you paid for.
Yeah.
And you needed to pay for it because it wasn't going to happen anyway.
That's right.
Poking wasn't working nicely. It
no.
wasn't.
Sometimes you got to lay the lawsuit hammer down.
Yeah. And,
to that end, if anyone needs to lay a lawsuit hammer down, JeevesLawGroup.com. Jeeves, Jeeves, lawgroup.com. Give them a call.
But definitely I'm so happy for FSU because I think it gives you what you needed.
We're done with this crap.
You're done with this crap and it gives you options.
Yeah.
What do you want you want your media rights, you want options, and you want to.
And more than anything, it gives us the money to compete with these damn Gators that have surpassed us in football and basketball in a real way. We suck at both, and you guys are great at both. Your football team is on the come.
But I always want a competitive team.
Yeah.
For me, you guys, I want
a real rivalry.
I want a real rivalry. I want fun. I want to be, if I go to Tallahassee or you come to Gainesville, I want us both to have a ball.
Yeah.
When we do those kind of things, and that's competitive. Think of when the national championship went through Miami, Florida, and Florida State.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
We need to get that back.
I sound like my father. Back in my day,
it was number one versus number two.
So those we don't want to say that all the time, but that's the truth. We want those rivalries.
What do you think of your basketball team? You watch them play last night? I did.
I'm very happy with our basketball team. I think they look great. That's a credit to the new coach.
Yeah.
So
doing a great job.
I think they're doing. I think it's amazing, to go and see what's going to happen. But like everybody, I'm just waiting for the tournament.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the fun time. That's when I actually.
Well, it's great when you have a team in the tournament and you have a chance to win the tournament. Yeah. Well, I know you're going to put Florida on that final line to win it. Come on, man. You can't.
You don't jinx it.
Come on, bro. No, if you've got a team that's worthy of winning it, you fill out every bracket and you have them as the champion. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing?
All
right. Well, we'll come bring you in 2 weeks and fill out your bracket.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
We do that.
If you don't have Florida on that last line as winning a championship, you're out.
You're gonna call me out on that. I got it.
You're out. I don't even have a chance to put FSU in. They got no shot.
I think isn't it your coaches last year?
Yeah. Leonard is bowing out, and hopefully we'll hire Sam Cassell. Get us right back in it.
You need to get that new coaching for recruiting, for stability for the program. It's hard to play. I mean, the players are playing and they're playing for him, but
and then recruiting, all that. We need to. Miami just named their guy from Duke, Jay Lucas. So they've got their guy, but now FSU has got a chance to hire Sam Cassell, and I think they should pull the trigger. But we'll see. Well, I know you got a mediation to get back to, so thanks for jumping in.
I had to come in here and try to mediate you down a little, because I'm sure you're telling everybody, bragging about you got out of the deal.
Damn right.
Goodness.
Damn right.
All right.
No, my rant was on our awful commissioner, Jim Phillips of the ACC, complete knucklehead. So
Not a complete knucklehead. He was smart enough to take this deal.
I don't know if he was smart enough,
or the board was smart enough. Let's give the board credit.
He was dumb enough to get the ACC into this mess because he didn't have the backbone to do what he should have done in the first place. Exactly what FSU asked for. Just give us what we're worth. Let us go compete with the big boys and carry the flag for the conference in football. No, we're not doing that. Okay. Yes, you are now.
Well, he had to say that for a bit. So
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's cleaned up, and it's cleaned up in a good way for you guys.
Yeah.
So going forward, I'm excited for FSU. I think, return to glory.
Yeah. Because I'm not sitting here, saying on 3rd and 9, the quarterback's thinking about the lawsuit. It wasn't the reason why they sucked in football, but it was a distraction. It was a distraction for the fan base. It probably was a bit of a distraction for Mike Norvell. And so that's over.
Well, I mean, look at him when he's at the ACC, preseason media days, and all they're talking about is the lawsuit.
That's right.
You're like a deer in headlights. Look, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up to coach football.
That's right. It's an excellent point.
And so it is a distraction. And if it's not a distraction of players, it's a distraction of the coach and
absolutely
the administration. And to be, remember, it's a lot more administration. You got to run a program, and you don't need distractions. That.
Hell no. Or draining of resources and legal fees. You don't need that either, but sometimes it's necessary. As to your point.
All right. Well, have a
JeevesLawGroup.com, by the way, great Scott Jeeves.
Thanks for letting me come in for a few minutes.
Thanks, partner. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Love the studio.
It is. It's nice, isn't it? Yes. We love this. All right. We'll take a quick break. Our final break. We'll come back. I'll get to your comments here on the JP Peterson Show. So bumper bed. There we go. Comments, wrap things up. Got a couple other notes here today that we got to get to, some Rays stuff, so stay with us. Hey guys, February's birthstone is amethyst, a stunning purple gem that symbolizes peace, protection, tranquility, and sincerity. Celebrate her birthday or your 6th and 17th wedding anniversaries with an unforgettable amethyst gift. And of course, for over 40 years, the Golden Diamond Source has been Tampa Bay's most trusted name in fine jewelry. We only sell natural diamonds. If it's real love, it should be a real natural diamond. Don't get a fake. The Golden Diamond Source first-time buyer program will help you learn about the 4 C's, what style, shape, and color works best for you and your unique style. Folks, it's the best customer service. They make it so easy for you, and they're not going to push you into something that you cannot afford. 0% financing for up to 5 years. If you finance $5,000, it's only $83 a month. Also, you can turn your old unused gold into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. So get that old jewelry and bring it on in. You know where, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Overton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or co-pays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you.
We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on this Thursday. Our thanks to Scott Jeeves and Scott Hamilton for joining us, and Brian Bradley. Fun show today. Yeah, I didn't screw it up too bad. We only had, what, two minutes of muted me? So not too bad. And our thanks to all our great sponsors as well. John Hill says Kansas basketball sucks. Now, John, Kansas basketball is having a down year, but they do not suck. Michael LaRue said the Lightning have 800,000 in cap space. That's enough for an enforcer. I love what Bradley said there. Love that. I think he's 100% right, by the way. You just don't want, especially in the playoffs, you don't want teams taking runs at your guys and not having a guy that's going to stand up and beat the hell out of somebody. You know, Tanner Janot was that guy, but obviously that ship has sailed. So who is that guy? Who do they go get? Enrico Ciccone, think he's available. Enrico Palazzo. Mike H says, I grew up in the 80s in Maryland watching ACC basketball. What a great time for college basketball. There was also Tobacco Road, which was NC State, Wake Forest, and Duke. Georgetown was right there too. Mike H, man, I was talking about that time calling games for the ACC tournament, and it was just, you had like 4 rows of press seats right next to the court, and you had all the different every school was represented there, and you were able to call all the games all day long, and it was just this, and then between games you go back and the bullpen and all the media people would be there, and you're talking shop, talking basketball. And these were great teams. I mean, like I said, Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, Randolph Childress, Timmy Duncan at Wake Forest. FSU had Charlie Ward, Doug Edwards, Sam Cassell, 4 number 1 draft picks on that team. I mean, it was great basketball. And then, of course, the coaches were just, incredible. Krzyzewski, Dean Smith. I think Herb Sendick was at NC State when I was there. And then, trying to remember the guy's name. Dave Odom at Wake Forest was a really, really good coach. Leonard Hamilton at FSU. Pat Kennedy back in the day with Coach Z at FSU. It was so fun. And watching that in basketball is such a high level. And those 2 years, I got to go around the ACC to all those Tobacco Road stadiums. Mike, you'll remember when you guys were playing in Maryland was playing in the big blimp hangar. What the hell was the name of that court? Mike H, remind me, where the Turks played. What was the name of that center? That was incredible, that arena there. Very distinct. And of course, Cameron Indoor Stadium seats 5,600 people. The wood everywhere is unlike anything else. You're calling the games from a catwalk above the stands, and you had literally back in the day you had to use it was a fire escape ladder. I'm trying to help Decker hop up the fire escape ladder to get to the catwalk to call the games at Cameron Indoor. It was loud, bro. It was so freaking loud. And then the Dean Dome sat 24,000 people. Totally different, atmosphere for Carolina basketball, but that was just incredible place. And where Wake Forest played in Winston-Salem was another great venue. Everywhere, NC State had a great venue. Everywhere you went in the ACC, it was great basketball. Those times going past. Yeah, Lefty Drizel was for the. He wasn't. I think. Who was the coach? Gary Williams was the coach when I was calling games for Maryland. Yeah, that was awesome. Lonnie Williams said epic Tom Petty concert at the Dean Dome on CD somewhere. Yeah, they did that too. Lonnie also says Jeff Passan just dropped a story on the A's and the Rays stadium situation. Got to check it out now. Oh, let's see if I can find that real quick. See what he's got
to say. We can get that on here. Is that on Twitter? You know, we're producing on the air here, folks. But I will, of course, if there's any breaking news on this, we have to do it. You know, Jeff, he's been down in Port Charlotte too. So I don't know what's. Okay, here it is. Let's see if it's hooked behind a paywall. Hopefully not. What A's and Rays moving to minor league ballparks means for MLB. Okay, so this is not necessarily towards the future. Says, while the destruction of Tropicana Field's roof in October by Hurricane Milton forced the Rays to seek refuge for 2025 at a minor league stadium across the bay in Tampa, Florida, many of the same issues, chief among them a relationship with local politicians drowned by distrust, have left the Rays with a deal for a new stadium they could abandon any day in a future defined by its uncertainty. Okay. Earlier this spring, Commissioner Rob Manfred called the minor league parks intimate and charming. Real estate euphemisms instantly recognizable to anyone who has looked at two small houses and apartments. True. So I'm just trying to find it, like, just breeze through this and see if there's anything. It says the upshot of stadium volatility goes beyond the teams and extends to the league. While Manfred has said he wants the league to expand from 30 to 32 before his planned retirement in January 2029, the instability of the A's and Rays has prompted MLB to pause, laying out an expansion timeline. Blah, blah, blah. What teams have weathered minor league ballparks before. The Blue Jays called Buffalo, New York home for the 2020 and 21 seasons because of COVID restrictions. Of course, they also played Dunedin for a little bit. Yeah. All right, so nothing really updatable here. Says Milton shredded 18 to 24 fiberglass panels. The Trop opened in blah, blah, blah. There's nothing really here. Optimism gushed from a news conference in which the Rays celebrated it. Okay, so he's kind of rehashing the whole ill-fated efforts here to get a stadium. Yeah, so he goes into a lot of the stadium stuff. Nothing new that I see here. Compounding the lack of clarity is the state of the Trop. The city's agreement with the Rays calls for it to replace the stadium's roof. Repairs are estimated to cost more than $50 million. Blah, 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 blah. I don't see a whole lot of new stuff here. There's no obvious solution. Multiple prominent Tampa area business people have started to put together ownership groups intent on attempting to buy the team. Though no deal is closed, sources told ESPN. Okay, so that's new. But those sources are the Rays. And they say no deal is close. So take that for what it's worth. And again, I'm not sitting here telling you that a deal is close. I just know that there are bona fide efforts and offers on the table. And again, the timing is going to pretty much be in the hands of Stu Sternberg and Major League Baseball, how fast or how strong they can push Stu to get a deal done. Because, Stu left his own devices will take forever until he gets, $5 billion for the team. So there has to be some reasonable pressure being put on him and to get this deal done, I would think. I don't see anything really new in this article. Anything that's groundbreaking here from passing. I will say this though. I was told by a couple of people that are working with the stadium group or the stadium logistics, getting the Rays portion of it done, is they've been told that the Rays are going to play at Tropicana or Steinbrenner Field for 2 years, at least portions of 2 years. So I believe that they've already figured that they're going to start the 26th season in Steinbrenner Field again. So that's just people that are working on the stadium and getting it ready for this year have been told there's going to be other phases of work for next year. So there's going to be at least 2 seasons, at least according to these people that are working within the stadium. who of course are not allowed to speak about this stuff. So it is anonymous, but I would expect them to play there at least portions of 2 years. If the trop does get fixed, then I'm still very dubious on that. It could be longer, obviously. No deal is close, sources told ESPN. The group's belief, according to sources, is that Hillsborough County, where Tampa is located, would be more amenable to offering public funding for a new stadium to a local ownership group. Sternberg lives on the outskirts of New York City. The 2025 season could serve as a proof of concept, with the Rays expecting to pack the 11,000-seat stadium far more often than they did the Trop, which typically holds games. And they mentioned a $42,000-seat stadium. Of course, it hasn't been that for a long time, Jeff Passan. Quote, if not for Steinbrenner Field and the Yankees, I don't know what we would have done. Silverman told ESPN the quick yes from Hal Steinbrenner gave us peace of mind when we really needed it. I think there's real excitement for outdoor baseball in Tampa. The whole region is talking about it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and going back to Hal Steinbrenner making a quick yes, and that probably surprised Matt Silverman because it was an altruistic move. It wasn't just about their self-interest, the Yankees. They were considering other people. They were considering very much the Tampa Bay area. And I thought Hal's statement was tremendous when he talked about his dad's love for the Tampa Bay area and the Tampa Bay area being their home, that they would obviously do whatever they had to do the Rays. Contrast that with how the Rays handle Tampa Bay. Do they always put Tampa Bay's interest ahead of their own? Never. But the Yankees owner did. So thank you, Hal. Appreciate you doing that. It's a very different look. All right, on that note, we will say goodbye. Thank you guys for hanging in with me today. I didn't think I did a terrible job today, did I? Okay, thumbs up, guys. Right? I got a couple bumpers in here and there. So, yeah, I think we did all right. So we will play you guys out with this. Thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate all of your Cole Fieldhouse, Mike H. That's right, Cole Fieldhouse. Thank you very much. I do that. Cole Fieldhouse. That place was cool. Big thanks to Scott Hughes who joined us here today, gcarbers.com. Big thanks to Scott Hamilton from the Post Courier itself. Some really good stuff there on the FSU Clemson and the history of the ACC tournament. That was a fun chat with us. So check that out. And of course, our friend Brian Bradley brought us live of Yanni Gord and Oliver Bjorkstrand in their new lightning uniform. That morning skate for the first time for our millions of fans. Great job, Brian Bradley. We will be back tomorrow. Evan Foskey's going to join us. We'll talk a lot of Rays baseball tomorrow. So have a great day, everybody.